In the days and weeks leading up to the NBA draft lottery, the buzz from Raptors fans was all about Scottie Barnes and his fit with the team. But have things changed now that the Raptors have moved up to the 4th overall pick rather than the expected 7th or 8th pick? Well, in this video, we're going to look at why Scottie Barnes is pretty much a perfect fit for the Raptors. Let's get into it. Welcome everybody to Amateur Hour Sports. This is the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. That is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So if you like what you see from today's video and you want more of myself talking about the NBA and the Raptors in videos and content just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to show your support to the channel on the road to 5,000 subscribers. You can help us get there by subscribing, and when we get there, I will shave my head again. But today's video, let's get down to business. We are doing a Scottie Barnes full draft profile. We're going to break down everything about this player because there are a lot of fans who are talking about this player, especially when we projected the 7th or 8th pick, but there are still a lot of Raptors fans talking about this guy, even though we have the 4th overall pick. Not a lot, not the grand majority, but there are certainly some people looking at this guy like he is the best fit for the Raptors, and this is why we should take him with the 4th overall pick. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to start out by going through his college stats playing with Florida State. Then we're going to go into some strengths. We're going to go into some weaknesses. And then we are going to finish with a player comparable. And I've got a couple player comparables. And there's an obvious one and a less than obvious one that I think might surprise you guys. So make sure you're sticking around until the end of the video to see that portion. But let's get into a little bit of his college stats. And I'm going to just say right off the bat, the college stats that Scottie Barnes showcases are a little bit underwhelming because playing for Florida State, it's not the greatest school. They finished, I believe, with an 18-7 record. Scottie Barnes played in 24 games and started 7 of those games where he put up just over 10 points per game, 10.3 points per game, 4.1 assists, 4 rebounds per game. So immediately, slightly underwhelming, but he did get Freshman of the Year in his conference as well as Sixth Man of the Year in his conference. So I would say Scottie Barnes came into the season as, I would say projected lottery pick, but a late lottery pick. And because of his great play over the course of the season, his play time increased, leading him to be one of the top 6 projected picks in the draft. Some people would have him as a top 5 pick. But let's get into the field goal percentage as well. So this is the best thing about his game. He shoots over 50% from the field. In fact, at the rim, he's shooting about 62%. So a very good finisher. The 3-point percentages and the free throw percentages is where this player lets his game down because he's shot just about 27.5% from 3 and 62% from the free throw line. So those are obviously drawbacks about this player. But as a whole, these stats are a little bit underwhelming for a guy who is projected to go into the top 6. So why is he projected so high despite these stats? Well, to find out that, we're going to have to get into the strength about this player. So I think one of the craziest things, if not the craziest thing about this player is that he's got a power forward body, but literally played as the point guard for Florida State. He is a point forward down to the definition. He's a point guard trapped in a power forward's body, and that is not a problem at all, especially when you look into the strengths and you combine those point guard abilities with the body frame, because his size is phenomenal. He is a 6'9" power forward, point guard, small forward, can play pretty much anywhere with a 7'2" wingspan and a 9-foot standing reach. He is a colossal human being. He is massive, and he uses these things to his strength because combined with all of that great size, he is very athletic. It's like he almost glides down the court, plays very well in the full court because he's got those point guard abilities. He is great in the full court and uses all of these great assets about him, those natural assets to his advantage as he progresses. With those transition plays, he's got great ball handling. Again, he's playing as a point guard, so he got to have those handles and he has to have the passing. He's a great passer of the ball, especially in full court. He definitely thrives in the full court, just like many players in the Toronto Raptors, like Pascal Siakam. Having a great passer and ball handler in the full court may aid a player like Pascal Siakam, because even though Scottie Barnes is a power forward, as a small forward, he can play in the guard positions as well to play alongside Fred VanVleet, who obviously lacks height. Scottie Barnes can make up a lot for that. It depends if NBA coaches and GMs would want to use him as that type of player or actually use him in the small forward and power forward positions. That remains to be seen. But Another strength about his game is his finishing. As I alluded to in the stat portion of the video, he shoots over 50% from the field because he has 62% finishing at the rim. He's got the soft touch. He can throw down with authority because he is athletic. He can play well above the rim and just cram. This is a highlight reel player. And if you've seen some of the tape of his workouts for NBA teams, he can fly. This guy can absolutely fly even with his size. Next thing is his defense. His defense just by itself is fantastic. He's a great ISO defender, much like OG Anunoby, and he's got tremendous switchability. He can guard the 1 through 4 because, again, he's got those point guard tendencies. He can move his feet quickly. He's very athletic, but he's also got the size, the wingspan, the reach to still guard his position in the power forward spot because he is a power forward. He's got the power forward body, but he plays like a point guard, which allows him to guard all 4 of those positions. In fact, he can play any of the top 4 positions in point guard, shooting guard, small forward, and power forward, just like he can defend them. That is great for the Raptors, who love to rotate on defense, who love to have that switchability on defense. This would play very well. And the final thing about his strength is the intangibles. He was 6th man of the year, which means he spent bit of time on the bench to start games, but he's loud. He's encouraging the guys on the court, and he's a leader on the court. He plays with a smile. He's just a great player to have around. It seems like based on the limited experience that we have seen him in the college game, but the intangibles seem like they are there and ready for the NBA. But all of these great things, as we saw with the stats, there are some drawbacks about his player, but what makes this player the most exciting is his size, his athleticism, and ball handling, passing, plus with that finishing. I mean, he's just a really great full court player, but we have to get into the drawbacks as well with the weaknesses. So as you could guess with those stats that we showcased earlier, he doesn't have a very good jump shot, and he's a really bit of a raw scorer. In fact, he's a raw prospect in general because he's very athletic and maybe lacks a little bit of that finesse, but the scoring is a problem. He doesn't have a very good jump shot. The mechanics as well. I've said it about a lot of players that even though they don't have good jump shots, the mechanics are there to work with. But unfortunately for this player, Scottie Barnes, the shooting mechanics do need a lot of work for him to become a serviceable three-point shooter in the NBA. It's going to take some work, and he's also got a very poor free throw percentage. And for a guy who relies on finishing at the rim, people are going to start fouling him if he cannot get that free throw percentage up because they know how good of a finisher he is. He's as good of a finisher as he is a free throw shooter. He's about 62% in both categories. So work needs to be done in that endeavor. The final weakness I'm touching on is he is one-dimensional. Because he doesn't have that jump shot, because he can't really space the floor like that, his playmaking might suffer in the NBA because NBA defenders might just dare him to go and shoot the ball and give him a lot of space. And when you give him a lot of space and you're able to collapse into the paint, that is going to strongly limit his playmaking ability because he's not the best finisher in the post. So as good of a finisher as he is, he relies a lot on his athleticism and transition basketball to get that done. I mean, he loves playing the full court with the great defense. He can turn steals and turnovers into full court play. But when he's got to play a little bit in the half court, his back down ability at the rim isn't great. He doesn't have a lot of post moves that he can rely on. And his playmaking with his back to the basket needs a lot of work. It's just when he can see everything, his court vision is tremendous. But because he does lack some other aspects of his game, defenses can collapse and make it that much harder for Scottie Barnes to truly thrive in the NBA. Obviously, a raw prospect. There's a lot to like about him, but there are some things you need to be worried about, which leads us to the final segment of the video, the player comparable. Who are we going to compare him to? We've got 2 guys. I think you're going to like one of them. So the easy one in this conversation, Scottie Barnes is very similar to Draymond Green. Draymond Green, say what you want about him, Draymond Green is a fantastic defender, and there is a reason he was on the 73-9 Warriors team because he contributes so much to the team. He's a good ball handler. Sometimes if Steph Curry's injured, Draymond Green can even play in the point guard position. Scottie Barnes also plays in the point guard position. It's not that Draymond Green is just absolutely tremendous at anything on offense. He's just good at everything, can get a lot of things done. He's just a very solid player all around. And with the defense, he's a great defender, can play above his height, can guard multiple positions. It leads him to be a very effective player that any team would want with their roster. Scottie Barnes kind of fits that, but Scottie Barnes is a lot better, I believe, offensively and can play a lot better in transition. Is a much better ball handler than Draymond Green. This kind of goes into our second player comparable because with his ability to glide in the full court, to ball handle, even though he's got a small forward or power forward type build, maybe he's not the most elite shooter, but playmaking kind of make up for it. Does this remind you of anybody like, let's say, Magic Johnson? Now, I don't think Scottie Barnes is anywhere at that Magic Johnson level, especially for what they produced in their colleges respectively, but Scottie Barnes is a bit of like a Walmart version of Magic Johnson. And, you know, if you're going to be a Walmart version of anything, I don't think being a Walmart version of Magic Johnson is an insult. That is a great player that we are going to have on our hands. And with those tendencies, the Magic Johnson type of tendencies, if you can kind of tinker his game and polish it a little bit more, polish off this raw prospect, you're going to get something reminiscent of MJ, the second MJ. Now, I'm not saying Scottie Barnes is Magic Johnson or he's going to be as good as him, but the way they play is very similar. The way they maneuver around the court, the way they like to play their game is very, very similar. Magic Johnson loved to glide in the full court, and his playmaking really aided him in, you know, freeing up himself for some buckets at the rim. Scottie Barnes really does fit that dynamic. So I would say it's a little bit of a cosmic gumbo between Draymond Green and Magic Johnson. I wouldn't say quite at Magic Johnson, but a lower tier version of him. That is exactly what I see in Scottie Barnes, and with all of these things that I've uncovered for this video, it leads to a very promising prospect. Now, if the Raptors had kept the 7th or 8th pick in the draft, I would be praying for this player to fall because he is a perfect fit for the team. But as we continue to mention on this channel, you draft talent over fit. So as much as Scottie Barnes fits within the Raptors system, especially on defense because of his switchability and all of that natural type of talent because of how big he is, his reach, his wingspan, he's a perfect fit, but you draft talent over fit. So in the 4th position, if Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, and Jalen Suggs, one of those guys are available, I think you got to go with one of them. The only person I would consider drafting over, I would consider taking Scottie Barnes ahead of Jalen Suggs, but I still wouldn't. I really like Jalen Suggs. I really like Jalen Green and Evan Mobley. I wouldn't take Scottie Barnes above them. So for that reason, for the 4th overall pick, it's a no from me. However, when it compares to Jonathan Kuminga, Masai wants to go into a different direction, which often he does. I kind of lean towards Scottie Barnes over Jonathan Kuminga. Not that that's relevant because I don't think either of them will go to the Raptors because you draft talent over fit, especially if you have a top 4 pick. So a lot was said about Scottie Barnes, a lot of good things and some bad things. What do you make about this player? Do you think the Raptors should take this player with the 4th overall pick? Do you think maybe we should trade down to get him because he is such a good fit with the team? I want to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below because that wraps up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, be sure to hit that like button if you did enjoy the video at any point. Really goes a long way to helping the channel reach some new viewers with that YouTube algorithm. Also, showcase to me that you made it to the end of the video. Check out our Twitch, twitch.tv/amateursports, watching along the NBA Finals Game 5, Suns Bucks, the 2-2 series. We're going to have a great time on stream. The stream starts 15 minutes before the opening tip. That's twitch.tv/amateursports. Subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. We post every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Other videos by the channel that you may enjoy. And always remember, at the end of the day, believe what I say, and if you disagree, that is okay. Enjoy the grind. I'll see you again next time for another video.